Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Engage XR Holdings PLC investor presentation. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged. They can be submitted at any time via the Q&A tab that's just situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Please just simply type in your questions and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all of the questions submitted today and publish responses where it is appropriate to do so. Before we begin, I would like to submit the following poll, and if you could give that your kind attention, I'm sure the company would be most grateful. And I'd now like to hand you over to CEO David Whelan, but perhaps before doing so, if we may just play a short video.
Welcome to Engage, the professional metaverse platform for Fortune 500 companies and world-leading educational institutions. It's time to stop playing games. The metaverse just got real. Central Plaza is the jumping-off point to our theme plazas inside what we call Engage Link. Meet like-minded professionals and make new friends while exploring new virtual worlds together. Enterprise Plaza is a central hub for users to connect directly with enterprise MetaWorld owners. Each unique MetaWorld is run individually by the clients themselves and can be linked to external applications through meta-traversal. The internet is evolving from a solo 2D text-based experience to a shared 3D spatial experience in what is loosely termed the metaverse. Our educational clients provide remote learning through metaversities. With some of the world's largest and most prestigious institutions on board, you are in safe hands on Engage. Own your own virtual apartment. Decorate it with your own furniture. Make it unique by adding art. Stream media from any web source. Remember to invite some friends so you don't dance alone. We also cater for creatives. Want to display art, hold an event or fashion show, or create something truly stunning using our inbuilt content tools.
Avatar look okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Metaverse. My name is David Whelan. I'm the CEO of Engage XR, and I'm here with Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm the senior sales engineer based in Salt Lake City, Utah.
So look, welcome to the Engage Metaverse, or Engage Link. This is our first release, and we've a long way to go, but it is for the very first time allowing customers and clients to connect together in a fully always on persistent world. And when we talk about Metaverse, what we're really talking about is the evolution of the internet from a flat 2D experience where you're sitting by yourself and typing on your keyboard to a shared social experience where you're here with others exploring new worlds. And today we're going to bring you on an exciting journey, myself and Chris, where we're going to visit some of these early locations, and we're also going to show you some of the early client work that we have on Engage. So yeah, Chris, if you want to take it away.
Fantastic. So many different use cases happening on Engage and the metaverse in general. And it's so exciting that we've got these different plazas. For example, we've got Enterprise Plaza where people are going to be doing product launches. We've got KPMG, for example, that has built an innovation hub where they're going to be bringing their partners into the metaverse and actually showing them hands-on how VR can be leveraged for many different enterprise use cases. And that's the whole key, is it's hands-on, it's experiential. We've known for years, thanks to the work from Dr. Jeremy Bailenson at Stanford, who also happens to be one of our launch partners, that experiential learning is the way we retain memories. And this is second best to actually doing it in real world and in some cases even better with different advantages that you can never achieve in the real world. So doing live classes, doing things you can't do in the physical world that are dangerous or too expensive, being able to have product launches and showcases that resonate with people and get that excitement level and get the adrenaline flowing because they're really truly experiencing this, very much like going to a full-fledged cinema, but even better because scale is phenomenal in virtual reality that you cannot get on a flat screen.
Exactly, and as you can see here, this is a very modular system. So we have these different islands that we can use in the future when we expand. But you'll see around us, these are portals, these oval shapes. And when you walk through these portals, it will bring you to other worlds. So where we're going to go first, actually, we're going to go to Enterprise Plaza. So let's take a walk over there, Chris, and go to Enterprise Plaza.
Awesome, let's do it.
Now, as you'll notice, as I'm getting closer, the portal becomes active. Hello, welcome to Enterprise Plaza. This is where many of our enterprise clients are buying portals and using it for their own use cases. Now, you will see we have quite a few companies listed here. This really is only the beginning. We've many more clients that we're currently working with who are not ready yet advertise that they're working in the metaverse, but you're going to see more and more announcements coming out, especially early next year. But we've added just some of the bigger names here to begin with. PMG US, Lenovo, we made an announcement before in the past. Chris is going to talk about 3M in a moment, and we're also going to talk a little bit about Kia. So maybe, Chris, if you want to talk through some of these use cases.
Yeah, we have some fantastic use cases coming on board. We've got KPMG, who are doing their innovation hub, which we talked about earlier. We've also got 3M, which are doing training modules. For example, how do you create a highway? And they actually walk you through step by step using the various tools in hand. We'll show you that. We also have Kia, for example, that are doing product showcases, car showcases. We can take you to one of those automobile shops and show you what that looks like. Employee onboarding is another big one. And honestly, just getting employees together to network internally and do creative jam sessions and stuff. So lots of stuff going on there. One other thing I should add that's becoming very popular is mindfulness training for enterprise clients. Enterprise clients are recognizing that sometimes employees need to take that 30-minute break and actually get some mindfulness and some downtime by putting on a headset and jumping in. We're working with some amazing partners that are offering incredible content around mindfulness.
Let's jump into some of those places now. So where would you like to go first, Chris?
Let's go to a 3M first.
Okay, let's go this way. Oh, and before we leave, that is a live stock ticker up on the ceiling.
Stunning environment. That's the thing, too. What people really appreciate is the fact that we're not a cartoon-like environment. We're not like a Minecraft-like place. Customers ask me all the time, if we're going for professional metaverse, why do we have these cartoon-like environments? And they're really happy to know that that's one of the things we're addressing here on Engage.
All right, Anna, tell us about ValueSure, this independent...
Yeah.
So, should I just go ahead and start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, so here we are. This is a training module put out by 3M on how to create a highway using the various 3M tools. So I just clicked on this device right here, and now it's popped up in front of me. If I click on it, this is a temperature gauge that's actually taking the temperature of the surface of the road. You can see here that it's 45 degrees. Now I'm going to go ahead and put that tool back, and the next step, once you find it's the correct temperature, is to pull out the tape measure. I can now see behind us, Dave, over here, that we've got the tape measure on the road. And if I click on that and perform the action, you're going to see how they measure the road across. They're going to make the appropriate markings on the road. And now we can move to the next option. This time it's directing me over here to this machine. Let's see what this does. Got it. Awesome. So there you can see it over here, David. We got the machine right here on the ground. And let's go ahead and perform the action. Go ahead and click on that.
Okay.
There we go. And here goes the machine. So now I'm actually cutting a strip in the road to prep it for laying down the lines. And you can go on and on and on throughout this entire training process, eventually using every single tool to learn how to build that road. Hello, welcome to Kiaverse. Here you can check out our new cars in a new way. in fully immersive virtual reality. It really feels as though I am at an actual Kia showroom location with this gorgeous sunset going down over the horizon. One of the great things about virtual reality is it allows you to explore your environment in full 3D from any perspective. In fact, that car over there looks like it's just begging for somebody to take it for a spin. Come on, let's go check out the inside of this awesome showroom. Wow, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. Look inside this beautiful showroom. Here, you may choose to speak with a live Kia rep, avatar to avatar, to learn more about the latest models, engage in interactive media, or experience these products in entirely new ways, such as getting behind the wheel of that car out front. The metaverse provides a whole new way to experience product launches, demos, and customer support. The future is now. See you soon.
So let's have a look first at all. So this intersection is lacking any sort of markings that would protect the pedestrians. And you can see with the flick of a switch there, we've brought in the road markings for cyclists and pedestrians. And this gives them the space that they need to be able to safely navigate our complex urban environment. Follow me over here and I'll show you some more of the products that we have available. And here's an example of one of those techniques. So, by not having any markings here, you can see the cyclist is crowded out and he's forced to actually mount the path, not only causing a danger to himself, but also to other people as well. And I'm glad he didn't get any of there. That's good to see.
Great. And, welcome to Education Plaza, where we have so many of our partners building so many cool things. Education has really picked up speed this year. One of our first big educational partners, of course, is Stanford University. The reason they picked Engage was because COVID had shut down their anatomy lab this last year. And so rather than just shut down the class and not have students attend, they actually sent headsets out to all of their students and did all of their anatomy lessons inside of Engage. So what they did is they actually did photogrammetry from within their anatomy lab and took the actual body parts, the cadavers, and you can see here that they actually brought those cadavers into Engage. And what they loved about doing this in virtual reality that they weren't expecting is that they could take content like this and blow it up to the side of a house, put little ramps up here and fly their students inside the body and blow this up larger than life. So we got a lot of comments that, not only were they able to replicate what happened in their lab, but they were able to go beyond what's possible in a lab and break bounds of physics and be able to do this kind of stuff, which the students found incredibly valuable.
And for those that don't know, photogrammetry is the act of taking thousands of photographs and stitching them together in software to make a very accurate model. So these are actually from real cadavers. These are real models from real cadavers.
Great. And it looks like, David, we've got Adtalem over here, which is one of our newer partners that I'm so excited about. Adtalem's a multi-billion-dollar educational entity. And what they're doing with us is they're putting together training materials such as equine training, where the avatar can go up and interact with the horse, and the horse is going to be loaded with all kinds of animations based on how you're interacting with that horse, so they can do actual veterinarian training with horses. Super cool. That's just one example. They're going to be building out all kinds of crazy, awesome content.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we also have Victory XR. So you would have heard about the 10 metaversities set up on the Engage platform, funded by Meta. They're actually run through Victory XR. So we have thousands of kids every day inside Engage learning lessons. And we have other clients coming on board, like the Miami University Business School coming in here quite soon.
One of the most popular, prestigious business universities in the world are going to be opening up shop here as well. Very excited about that. And then we've got Optima Ed. They're already running hundreds of students every single day in Engage, and they've got an entire library built out of content, like going back to ancient Rome, going into some natural geographical settings, all kinds of different classes and stuff that they've set up, and the students are absolutely eating it up, to the point, David, where students are saying, if I can't do my homework in VR, I don't want to do it. You know, it's just hilarious how positive the students are responding to being able to do studies inside of virtual reality.
So where we're going to go next is someplace that's very creative. So this is obviously the education setting, and we were just after coming from the business setting. Now we're going to Creative Plaza, where a lot of our artists and very creative entities will come in and take a space. So we're going to go there now.
Awesome.
Okay, welcome to Creative Plaza. This is a little bit different from what you might have been used to when you hear about the Engage platform. This very much is for creative elements, you know, so brands, fashion brands, artists, you know, they can come in here, they can hold fashion shows, they can have art installations. Pretty much any creative mind can come in here and build whatever they like. And you can actually see it's very, very strange and wonderful in here. And even if you look up above us, you'll actually see people walking on the ceiling. So there's an upside down world. And then these things that are floating around us, this is very much based on an Escher painting, a very famous painting where you have stairs going in all different directions. So Chris is working with the clients in this location. So maybe, Chris, if you want to talk a little bit about the work you're doing here.
Oh, this is one of my favorite locations, because this is where you're going to see the wild and whimsical artistic stuff coming to life. For example, we have artists that are building stuff in third-party applications such as Tilt Brush, and because of the open nature of Engage, we are able to bring that content into Engage and bring it to life in a way that you can't do on that third-party app. So we work very well with bringing in digital twins and art very easily onto the platform. We're also doing, you know, we've got 360 video artists that are doing some amazing things in here. Just the whole, it's amazing what's possible. David, rather than talking about it, I think we ought to show off just some of this amazing content. Oh, I should also note, San Diego State University, for example, is going to be doing theater inside of the metaverse with live actors. So they're taking their theatrics class and they're bringing it full-fledged into the metaverse.
Yeah, excellent. So maybe, if you want to pick one of these portals, then we'll go visit it.
Yeah, let's head on over to let's go into one of Mada's worlds or something like that. We've got the Mindwise here, which is a great place. Waking Dream. Let's go ahead and pop on over to some of our tilt. Let's show them the Tilt Brush art that I was talking about.
Okay, so one of the very cool things on Engage is that we support a huge array of different formats and different tools. And one of the key things about the metaverse is it's all going to be very much interlinked. So there's going to be different platforms who specialize in different things. So where we are here, this was created on a paint application owned by Google called Tilt Brush. And Chris is going to explain the process of getting it in here and the artist who created this wonderful location.
Yeah, so this was built by one of the very popular Tilt Brush artists, and she is so happy to be able to bring this into a place where it can be fully experienced with up to 60, 70 people in the same space. So the way she does is she just builds it on that third-party app, Tilt Brush, brings it into our SDK, our Unity-based SDK, optimizes it there, and then pushes it up onto her account into here. And then she grabs a place in the metaverse on Engage Link, and now the entire world can come in and experience this content.
Yeah, I think one of the best comments that we've heard from clients recently is that we're very much the Swiss Army knife of the metaverse, where people can pretty much build anything, prototype very quickly. And it's one of the key reasons why so many clients come to us is that they don't really know what they want from the metaverse. They're trying to work out a strategy, and Engage is one of those platforms that allows them to build out a strategy very quickly, find out what works and what doesn't work. And another key factor that makes us very successful is that we are ISO security certified and we have GDPR compliance. So a lot of these clients who are coming to us, these big names, banking institutions, etc., come to us because there's a level of comfort knowing that we've gone through all this certification. So I think what we'll do now is we're going to get out of VR and we're going to be happy to answer any of your questions. Thanks very much for coming on this tour.
Thank you.
David, Chris, that's great. And if I may just bring back up your cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, please do continue to submit your questions just by using the Q&A tab that's situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. But just while the team take a few moments to review those questions that were submitted already, I would like to remind you that a recording of this presentation, along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A, can be accessed via your investor dashboard. David, Chris, as you can see in the Q&A tab, we have received a number of questions throughout today's presentation. So thank you to all of those on the call for taking the time to submit their questions. And if I could just hand back to you to maybe run through the Q&A tab to respond to those where it's appropriate to do so, and then I'll pick up from you at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I hope you did enjoy that short presentation, and this is the real version of us. So you could actually see within that video, we do kind of look like our avatars. There's still a lot of work to go, but we're definitely not as cartoony as some other platforms out there. So the first question I have here, can you see Engage being listed on NASDAQ in the next 3 years? Yes, it's a possibility. I wouldn't rule anything out. So short and sweet answer. So the next question then from Whale G. How much Engage professional services or custom dev support is typically required for clients to launch a fully functional meta world, or are they doing this in-house with third-party developers? At which point or after how long do clients typically become self-managing on the Engage platform? So maybe Chris, if you want to answer
Yeah,
some of that.
I'd love to. So there's a couple of different ways to bring content into Engage. The primary way is with our SDK. The advantage of an SDK is it allows you to add a bunch of additional functionality to those assets, such as putting gravity on an object or putting a collider on an object. That's the best way to bring it in. But for those that don't know Unity or don't know how to do that, like myself, who I'm a behavioral scientist of 20 years, I don't know how to code. So for me, using the Cloud File Manager that's currently in beta and getting ready to be released to the public, we actually have I want to say about 800 people using that right now in beta, and it's as easy as drag and dropping files. So you're just dragging video files, you're dragging 3D model assets, going to one of the big marketplaces where they sell 3D assets, just downloading that content, dragging it in, and bringing it into Engage. It is that easy that somebody like my mom could do that. How long does it take to become self-managing? Well, in the case of Cloud File Manager, it's very quick. Everyone's familiar with the drag and drop.
What I would say is originally Engage was designed as an education platform. So we tailored the experience to be suitable for educators in their 40s to build content very quickly. So even our menus are on virtual iPads, which educators know how to use. So it makes it very familiar when they get in there to pick up these tools and run with them. The next question I have,
I was going to say
yeah.
too, on the regards to the meta world, a lot of folks are actually even working with our internal content team to
Mhm.
build out their first meta worlds, because we do expect a very high quality and we are curating those. So a lot of assistance from our in-house team for those initial meta worlds, and beyond that initial one, we leave it more in the client's hands.
Cool. So the next question I have from Whale G again is, what increase in headcount do you expect for your sales and research and development teams next year to support the growth of Engage Link? So what I would say is we're 100 staff right now, or just over 100. Our technical staff are extremely strong. So with such a small team, we've built a very impressive platform, and some of the platforms we're going against, they have 1,700, 2,000 people working on those platforms, and we definitely hold our own. And I think it's a great um, validation of the platform that actually some of our perceived competitors are using our platform on a very regular basis. So HTC have built their own platform; they use us for events. Meta have built their own platform; they use us for events as well, and some huge corporations. From the sales side of the thing, that's the area of the business that we are growing extensively. So we grew our business development team from 2 at the beginning of the year to, I think we have a team of about 12 people now, Chris, and we are growing that side of the team as well. So, customer success, retention, those kind of areas is the area of key growth for the company, and that's what we're going to be expanding into next year. So the next question I have, Chris, is for you from Whale G again. When do you expect Engage Link to be fully cloud-based?
Oh, that's a good question. To go cloud-based, I mean, that that is, the future. Engage will be cloud-based at some point. That's the future of all platforms, where we can have that very friction-free login process and the ability to process graphics and stuff in the cloud to even bring a higher resolution experience. It's still fairly early days for that. There's still quite a bit of friction in cloud-based rendering, but we do see that in the future for sure.
Yeah,
I don't really know a timeline, Gabe. What would you guess?
I would guess somewhere in the region of about 3 to 5 years before we start seeing it being adopted more widely. Really, it's dependent on the internet providers. So you need a stable internet connection with 100 megabytes download. 50 meg up. I think to have a reasonable browser-based experience. Now we have seen Google with their project that I think they closed down. I forget the name, but Stadia,
Stay,
Google Stadia.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that is a fantastic product, maybe a little bit early to the market. But this reminds me, history repeats itself. There was an alternative to YouTube that was up and running on the internet just before broadband adoption, and it failed. And then YouTube came out. So you need to have the right product fit at the right product time. And I think with Engage, where we are now, we are seeing a lot of businesses and corporations looking to reduce costs, looking to reduce carbon footprints, and hire more remote workers in areas where they'll be less expensive to hire. So instead of hiring someone in the center of London and paying a big wage, they can hire somebody maybe out in the suburbs, and they're looking for better ways to communicate and connect. And that's one of the major use cases on the platform. We see corporations using us for onboarding, for daily stand-ups, for communication. You know, Video communication is fine when there's 2 or 3 people talking. When you need groups of 5, 10, or 15 creative people all collaborating together, that's when video communication starts to fall down. Next one then from Michael D, and I think this one will be for you, Chris. How has the Education Plaza been received so far by the likes of Stanford University?
Yeah, it's very exciting because up until now, almost everything that occurred in Engage was private accounts, having to invite people and bring in using codes and things like this. So they're very excited about the fact that they can have an always on 24/7 place that they can basically advertise their sales, services, products right there on the plazas at any time in an experiential way. So they're very excited to be able to come out publicly. And we have 3 different settings for our meta worlds, which is very convenient for our educational customers. You've got the public facing meta worlds that we have. You also have the option of having private meta worlds where it's invite only, and then internal meta worlds where it's really designed just for your internal employees, students, etc. So lots of different options there. But yeah, everyone's very excited about this prospect. All of our partners are.
And the second question here, I think the two of us can share is, what is the strategy to onboard more educational institutions? So we have a couple of different approaches. So we are working with some of the best premium educational institutions in the world. Stanford University is one. Those guys are actually doing research papers using the Engage platform and publishing those papers. So when they publish those papers globally, other universities take notice and they want to get in on the action, especially when they're showing real benefits from using an immersive method of teaching for some of the lessons that compared to others. So that's one way of getting other universities involved with us. We also work with education partners such as Victory XR, who have set up 10 metaversities, which Chris, maybe you can speak a little bit more of.
Yeah, that's been getting a lot of publicity and a lot of people reaching out to us. The fact that, Victory XR and us, we're building these digital twins of the university. It's getting a lot of airplay and people are reaching out to us because of that. I should also say, our relationship with Stanford has been a big boon for us because Dr. Jeremy Bailenson, who is our partner, is really probably the leading researcher for virtual reality in education. And word is definitely out on the street that we have his endorsement. And we've just been getting a ton of reach outs specifically because of his endorsements.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the questions unless something else comes in, but I really want to emphasize here what we're talking about. Metaverse really is a marketing term. It's just an evolution of the internet or part of the internet. So if you're going shopping today on Amazon or you're filling in a form online, you're going to do the same thing in 5 years' time because it's very easy and quick to do. But if you want to communicate with larger groups of people, go to entertainment events, and go to like a virtual office and communicate with your colleagues, This is where the metaverse or the spatial 3D internet really comes into its own. So it's not going to be for everything. This is an add-on or an evolution of part of the internet. That's really what we're working towards. And quite often I'm asked, the metaverse, is that what Facebook are building? That's like saying Facebook are building their own version of the internet. All different companies will have their own versions of the metaverse, the same as all different companies have their own websites. They will all eventually be linked together. When it's cloud rendered, it's going to be easy to jump from one to the other. Whereas at the moment, in the very beginning, it is very much a walled network where you have to download a client to get into these applications. And the reason we're not web based right now at the moment is that we are the only metaverse platform with ISO security certification. It's very hard to get that security certification if you're a web-based application, because you're sending data through a browser, and the browser, you're reliant on the security of the browser itself. Whereas having your own internal application that you can secure is easier to sell to these large corporations. We're selling them a web-based solution at the moment until it's cloud rendered. Really, a lot of those web-based solutions won't get through the process or the application process to work with these big clients, and that's why we have big corporations like Lenovo, KPMG, Pfizer, Kia. These are well-known brand names, and I think one of the great things that stands to us is, even for such a small company, we're working with 20 of the Fortune 500 companies. We're aiming to work with 100 Fortune 500 companies in the next 18 months. So we're very, very ambitious. Another question came in there. What is the average client cost for setting up a meta world in Engage? So what we're actually charging here, we're not selling digital land. Okay, so I've seen many platforms out there, and they have this idea of digital scarcity, where we're going to make a finite amount of land and we're going to sell this land. And if you buy land that's next to a celebrity, that land is going to be more expensive. We don't do that. That's a crazy way to look at things. There's an inherent value in buying land in the real world, because there is only a certain amount of land that you can get. Digital land can go on and on forever. So what we're actually charging is hosting for these spaces, the same as charging for websites. Now, we do have a special introductory fee that we're charging some of these clients, where they want like their branding in one of the heavy traffic locations, or they want the branding on the building, kind of like an advertising spend. And that will depend on each client. So some clients are paying more than other clients. So our enterprise clients will pay more than education. But we're not excessively charging them. Where we make our money at the moment still is in selling licenses to these organizations, and they're using these public spaces for product launches or customer reach out or network events, but they still have their private spaces within Engage. But we are certainly going to evolve the business model next year, where we're going to be taking revenue share from people who are holding events on the platform or concerts on the platform. We'll be also charging revenue share for people who want to sell content to other users on Engage. And that could be, say, training companies selling fire safety training to the likes of Lenovo or whichever organization they wish to do so. And we'll take a percentage fee of that. And the clients that we're working with today, they're building their own business models and they're finding out what works and what doesn't work. This really is 1995 all over again. So I've seen a lot of businesses, they've built virtual worlds, they put their logo on the world and said, hey, this is our metaverse strategy. That's exactly the same as businesses back in 1995 who spent a huge amount of money for domain names. They put their logo on a web page, put their phone number underneath and said, phone us to do business. A lot of those businesses went out of business, and they've been replaced by YouTube, eBay, Amazon. These companies utilize the internet technology in the correct way, and we're working with businesses now in the background, and it can be frustrating that we can't speak about a lot of the businesses we work with, but we're working with these businesses today, and not everything works, so there's a lot of failures and some successes, but they're figuring out what works and what doesn't work to put them in good stead over the next few years. So it is very exciting times for the business. So I think that's it really from us. It's a short update. We just wanted to show you what our vision, our early vision of the metaverse is. This is again the very first release. It's 0.1. We've a long way to go, but I do think we're certainly on the right path, and we're certainly quite different to any of the other platforms out there. So thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.
David, Chris, that's great. And if I may just jump back in there, thank you very much indeed for addressing all of those questions that came in from investors this afternoon. And of course, if there are any further questions that do come through, we'll make these available to you immediately after the presentation has ended for you to review, and then add any additional responses where it's appropriate to do so. David, perhaps before redirecting those on the call to provide you with their feedback, which I know is particularly important to yourself and the company, if I could please just ask you for a few closing comments. I think you may have just well delivered those, but if there's anything further to add, that would be great.
Yeah, look, I think if you think the internet's going to evolve, if you think it is going to go to a spatial internet in the future, if you think we're doing something different from everybody else, there's very few people that have the capabilities of what this company can do, and we've come a hell of a long way over the last 3 or 4 years. I do think, you should, seriously look at, supporting this company and other companies as well. The internet is going to change. It's not all going to be beholden to one company or one business or one person. This is going to be a shared virtual world, and we certainly have a duty of care to make sure that we build it correctly. We are pioneers, but I definitely think this is the future of spatial computing. And I will make two predictions, okay? And these predictions are, I'm quite often asked, are we reliant on the adoption of VR headsets? We absolutely aren't. We're supported on, mobile phones, tablets, desktop PCs. 50% of our user base actually just use phones and tablets, when they log in, and every now and again they go in VR for the immersive element of it. But if I was to make a prediction of the worldwide adoption of immersive technology wearables, what I would say is back in 1969, before 1969, very few people had televisions in their house, and after 1969, a lot of people had televisions in their house, and the catalyst for that was the moon landing, because a quarter of the world's population watched the moon landing on TV, and they all went out and bought TVs later. I think what will happen in the next, 3-6 years is that someone will walk on Mars, and your option is going to be: do you want to watch it on a 12K TV, or do you want to stick on an immersive VR headset, stand on the surface of Mars, and watch that person take a step off Mars? And I think when that happens, you'll see a huge adoption of immersive technology. And my second prediction will be that that person will be a woman. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting few years to see if both those predictions come right.
David, that's great. And Chris as well, thank you once again for taking the time to update investors today. Could I please ask investors not to close this session, as you'll now be automatically redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management team can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, but I'm sure will be greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the management team of Engage XR Holdings PLC, we would like to thank you for attending today's presentation. That now concludes today's session, so good afternoon to you all.
Bye now.
Take care.